Next one, a leader speak, and for that, over to you, Manisha.
Thank you, Ritika. Nice to be together again. After a while, Ritika and I used to be colleagues at NDTV at one point of time, so lovely to catch her here. And good evening, everybody, and all the brave hearts who've stayed back for this conversation. Well, making the world a better home, that's our purpose. That's the tagline of Saint-Gobain, which is the company that we are going to be speaking about. And the leader with me is Venkataraman, Managing Director, Gyproc Mortar and Insulation Businesses at Saint-Gobain, India. The reason why I've said or spoken about the tagline is that this is an excellent corporate film that one must see. It talks about the fact that how our homes are so precious to us, and the biggest home that we live in is this earth, this planet, and it's so important to make it sustainable, inclusive, and an equal world. Mr. Subramanian, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to now switch to Venkat very, very soon. So let's start with the sustainability journey and making the world a better home. I know that as a global organization and a leader, you've committed yourself to net zero by 2050. How is India doing?
So yes, we have made this global commitment to be net zero by 2050. Some of you in the services sector might think that's too long, but what you have to keep in mind is we are a manufacturing intensive business, and there's a lot of energy which goes into all the transformations of materials that we do. So the challenge is so much more. And I must tell you that we are aiming for net zero by 2050, and we have certain milestones midway. And that is something we monitor. And I'm very pleased to tell you we are making very good progress. We are reducing the energy intensity in our operations. We are moving from hydrocarbons to more greener sources of energy. We are reducing water consumption. We are doing a lot of recycling of materials. And we're also eliminating and reducing waste. So we are tackling this challenge in many ways. And I'm very happy to share with you that we are at this moment looking at an opportunity to do it well ahead of 2050. And India certainly is going to be a very big contributor to this effort.
To that goal.
Absolutely.
So that's about your manufacturing process. What about your products and solutions? So let's say anybody out here does decide to take materials and solutions from Saint-Gobain. How much would that add to their green footprint? Because everybody's goal is to become more sustainable.
Yeah, so Manisha, you talked about making the world a better home. And that purpose basically emanates from the fact that we believe in the built environment, building space. Almost 30% of the carbon footprint emanates from building activity, construction, occupation, various domains. So we want to make a contribution in this area. So one is, of course, to look at our own manufacturing operations. But today, I must tell you that we have a slew of products, and we've got a huge portfolio of products. If you walk across the aisle, we have a demonstration. We have a unit there you could just walk in and see. But just to give you, put some numbers to give you this perspective. You have this USGBC with a LEED rating. It's on a 110-point scale. And if you adopt our solutions, that can give you 50 points straight away. So that's as effective.
15 over 110. So literally 10%.
No, 50.
Oh, 50.
50 out of a 110. So more than 40% contribution can come just by adopting the products and solutions that we provide.
How much more expensive are they in the market than the non-sustainable products, let's say?
So I think we look at more the life cycle cost. So there is a capex and an opex, particularly in the hospitality industry. I think you're also very concerned about the opex, how much energy it will consume, what kind of performance will it give, what is the comfort. So when you look at all this, there are studies after studies to show that the new technologies that are coming are far more cost effective over the life cycle. And certainly there is a little bit of an upfront premium that you pay, But there are many other advantages like speed of construction. There are several other things. For want of time, I won't get into all of that. But certainly, it's a very...
I'm just liking the idea of 50 points out of 110 on your green ratings can come by the products that can come from the Saint-Gobain's table. Light construction. Now, this is a myth that I've also lived with. The thicker your walls, the stronger your structures. But then there's this whole new way of building and something that Saint-Gobain is doing, light construction. Very quickly, in layman terms, tell me what it is.
So let me draw an analogy. This mobile phone that you carry in your palm today is certainly much lighter than the mainframe computers used to be 45, 50 years ago. But not just is it lighter, it can perform significantly better than a mainframe computer could. Of course, this is a very extreme example, but that's just to explain the concept to you. So there's a lot of technology that has gone into transforming the mainframe into something which can sit in your palm. Likewise, I think the built environment is also getting transformed. So today, we are using knowledge of material sciences, building sciences, a lot of technology to lighten the built environment and the construction process, make it much simpler and significantly more performing. Whether you take in terms of acoustic performance, you take in terms of indoor air quality, thermal efficiencies, energy efficiencies, I think you can get a whole lot of improvement through adoption of these technologies.
Who are the early adopters globally and in India? Can you tell us some names?
So I think we are getting a lot of traction in modern offices. Hospitality is again a sector which I think believes and sees the benefit of this. I think in India, in the early stages, it was more the multinational chains which adopted some of our practices. But today, I'm happy to report that, almost all the hotel chains are adopting these practices. Of course, if you take some of the multinational chains, I think the number of products and the number of solutions that I think they would be the ones who would be leading the adoption. But everybody is a quick follower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, on to some softer topics. You're on the road how many days, Venkat?
Well, I used to be much more earlier, but yeah, we are still on the road about 4-5 days.
All right, okay. So very quickly, let me ask you, how many Saint-Gobain people are here in the audience? I'm sure there are, okay, there's some few hands which are going up. Very quickly, if I were to take your team into a quiet room and ask them to describe you in 3 words, what would those be? What do you think those would be?
I think this is a very tricky question. Let me say what I would like them to.
By the way, I've already taken them to the quiet room and got the answer.
I think by and large, the feedback I've got is I'm an authentic person. So I think that's something which people have given me a feedback. I'm a good listener. I'm empathetic. And I think I'm quite effective. These are the 3 things, all positive, but I like to believe that that's what they will tell you.
I'm telling you, humility is an overrated virtue. These are not even that over the top. All right. Your leadership style pretty much is described in these 3 adjectives, but is there anybody that you look up to in their leadership style?
See, I think leadership, to my mind, is very situational. And, you've got people who actually provide very good leadership. If you talk generally about leadership, I think there are evergreen leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, who are, relevant at all points in time. But for me, I draw a lot of inspiration from a guy like MS Dhoni. I think if you look at what he did to the Indian team when he was captaining, and I mean, even at this advanced stage, the kind of stuff that he's able to bring out with the CSK team, I think that's brilliant. A lot to learn from that.
In fact, on Instagram today, what popped up was the fact that the bat maker in Ranchi, who used to give him free bats to play with, or very discounted bats to play with, Dhoni refused to take any sponsorship for years and continued to use the sticker of that bat maker in Ranchi. So this is I'm a big fan of MS Dhoni, and I actually have a bat of his signed because
but he's truly
an inspiration. Absolutely. So we share one thing in common. Okay, your go-to for daily decompress? Is it books, travel? What is it? Or sports?
Yeah, I do a bit of swimming, but what really relaxes me is music.
I should have thought so. I mean, look at the name, Venkataraman. I should have said music. Sorry, I missed it. What kind of music, Venkat?
So actually, got more interested in Bollywood music, and along with a few friends, about 15, 16 of us, we are into trying to learn singing, and we give some performances.
Singing. Come on,
Yeah,
one line, Venkat.
We do give some performances for friends and family from time to time, yeah.
You're not going to sing for us?
I don't think
Okay.
time. I don't
Catch
want people
him
walking
later in
out.
the
I've been able
evening
to
for
hold.
that part. Catch him after a couple of drinks. Maybe he will.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going through your resume. Right after IIT Madras, you joined HUL, which is one of the best places to work for. And 20 years there and now 20 years in Saint-Gobain. Tell me, what's the best part of working in Saint-Gobain?
See, I think both are large multinational companies, and I left Hindustan Lever to join Saint-Gobain because Saint-Gobain was still quite small. Hindustan Lever, you were a small fish in a big pond. Here, I think the opportunity to create something, and I think that's something I feel very proud about. Along with a lot of people, I think we've created something very great. But what makes most of us stick, around the room also you'll find a lot of people who put 10, 20 years behind this organization. I think the first thing is the values. And this is universal, international, anywhere and everywhere you go. We deeply believe in respect. When I say respect, respect for an employee, respect for a customer, respect for the laws of the land. So I think across many dimensions, you will see this is actually getting practiced in the way we conduct ourselves. So I think that is something. Most of us come from very middle class background, and the value system is very, very dear to all of us. And I think that's one very positive thing. And if I were to talk about the culture in the organization, it's a French company. But the level of trust, empowerment, and collaboration that we have, I think is unparalleled. Today, we have the entire organization in India being managed by Indians, all professionals who have grown from within the organization largely. And we enjoy a huge amount of trust with Paris, and there's a lot of empowerment. Today, we are able to really speed up the growth in the country. We had the board of Saint-Gobain, which, in 358 years, never traveled outside of Europe. For the first time last year, they came down and spent 4 days in India just to understand what India is all about. And they're really fascinated with what the teams in India are doing and the kind of potential that India has for a large multinational corporation. So I think these are some of the things we really value and enjoy as employees.
I am so happy to hear that, because did you make sure that they were spoken to only in Tamil and nothing else? Because when I went to Paris, nobody spoke to me in English.
Yeah, I think we do speak whatever language, and there are translators, but I think, performance speaks. You don't have to say too many things. In many ways, I think that's what they understand.
French are a hard breed to please. So if they're so happy with the India business that they traveled for the first time, 4 of them to the country, well, congratulations to all of you for doing a stellar job.
We're really happy, Anuj and team, for allowing us to partner with you. There's a great organization, and there's a great show that you put together. And really look forward to working with every member here, every guest here. I'm sure sustainability is a requirement, and more so becoming something of importance to everybody. We're really happy to work along with all of you on this journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We've saved 6 minutes, ladies and gentlemen.